Acho was Baker.
I love me some Baker.
Disrespected by the Browns. Uh-oh.
I love me some
Pom-poms out. Let's hear it.
Baker was absolutely disrespected by the Cleveland Browns.
You want to go on that couch with him?
He in Austin, Baker. I'll be in Austin next month, big dog. Save room for me on the couch. Baker was disrespected by the Cleveland Browns because the Cleveland Browns did not honor what Baker Mayfield had done for them.
Ooh.
Baker Mayfield did more for the Cleveland Browns than Russell Wilson did for Sierra relationally. Got them out of the most toxic of a relationship. Think about the toxicity that the Cleveland Browns were in at the quarterback position. Think about what Baker Mayfield saved them from.
Yes.
Tim Couch, toxicity. Johnny Manziel, first-round pick, toxicity. Brady Quinn, didn't work out there, toxicity. Colt McCoy, my guy, Hall of Fame Heisman Trophy finalist a few times running, toxicity. Brandon Weeden, first-round pick, toxicity. Robert Griffin, former Heisman winner, goes to Cleveland, toxicity. Think about the stability that Baker Mayfield rescued the Cleveland Browns from. The Browns had not sniffed. They hadn't sniffed the playoffs since 2002. The Browns had not sniffed a playoff win since 1994.
Oh, really?
Baker Mayfield comes in, and 3 years later,
What happened?
Cleveland Browns go to the playoffs. Cleveland Browns win a playoff game.
Yeah.
I understand having to end a relationship because it doesn't look good for you moving forward, but you have to honor what occurred in the past. And where the Cleveland Browns were, I'm not mad at them at all for signing Deshaun Watson, for trading for Deshaun Watson. It was a good decision. But just because Baker Mayfield isn't in your plans moving forward does not mean you should not honor what he's done for you in the past. Baker Mayfield stabilized one of the most unstable organizations in football. Personal experience. Drafted to the Cleveland Browns, 2012.
Toxicity.
I believe our record. Toxicity. Drafted to the Cleveland Browns, 2012. Our record, I believe, was 5-11. Back in the day. Back when we played 16 games.
Old math.
I showed up there, and we drafted Brandon Weeden in the first round that year. Trent Richardson, pick number 4, I believe. Brandon Weeden, pick number 28. First round pick, Brandon Weeden. But he didn't start because Colt McCoy was starting. Then Brandon Weeden, Colt McCoy going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Toxicity. Here comes Baker Mayfield years later, after the Brandon Weedens, after the Johnny Manziels, after the Robert Griffins, after all of that, and you stabilize an organization. Please pay respect to it. He don't need to be your man's going forward. But Sel, you know one thing about no. You know 3 or 4 things about ending relationships.
That's just engagements. About 400.
There is a certain type of way you can at least make an attempt to get out.
Text. Oh, I'm stupid.
I have issue with how the Cleveland Browns did it. I have no issue with what the Cleveland Browns did. Go get you Deshaun Watson, top 5 quarterback. No issue with what you did. But I have issue with how you did it.
Oh, man.
Toxicity.
I like that toxicity part. I knew that take was coming because you told me right before we went on air that that was coming. I was like, oh, no, I don't want to fight with Acho. I love him. Well, I'm going to do what Baker Mayfield is doing. I'm going to take the fight to someone who doesn't deserve it, and then I'm going to blame them. That's what Baker Mayfield is doing right now. Let's take this fight to Baker Mayfield. Baker, you're not here, but like you like to do, you like to displace your aggression. You don't want to look inward. You don't want to look in the mirror. So you want to blame everything else. So Baker Mayfield has forgotten 2 things. 1, where he was, and 2, who he is. I repeat, where he was in the NFL and who he is. Baker Mayfield. The NFL is a service business. And in the service business, your job is to serve us. Ooh, don't you forget. Wileyism, toxicity. Now, if you ain't serving us, and the us is twofold. It's the organization first. Why? Because you check your check. You ever check your check? Check your check. There's only 2 things on there. Your name, the owner's name, and then there's some numbers. And as those numbers grow, your game better go with it. Baker Mayfield forgot he was in the service business, and he had to serve us. Organization, and this is his problem. He thought he had to serve the fans. Oh, you do, but they're second, and they're a distant second. So let's focus this conversation in on what Baker Mayfield messed up. He's going through an identity crisis, and I've been here before, so I'm going to testify before I crucify. I went through an identity crisis my last year in San Diego because it was the first time I realized that I wasn't myself. I played through injury and I had success. I played through injury, I had success. I had success, I had success. Then one day I didn't have success. And you know what the first thing I decided to do? Fight what wasn't the problem. I start blaming teammates. I start blaming the system. I start blaming the team. I start blaming the organization. I start blaming coaches. And then finally, the mirrors in my house kept showing me only one person that was at the blame, me. Baker Mayfield's going through the identity crisis right before our very eyes. And instead of Baker Mayfield not being on someone's couch, having some nice hip flexors too to be able to sit like that, hey, he still got some game in him somewhere. To be able to look at yourself and not have that podcast where you focus outward, you focus inward. But Baker Mayfield, who has blamed Duke Johnson and teammates called him out, who has called out Hugh Jackson before, talks about the organization, wrote a love letter to the fans, has his priorities out of order because the number one priority in the service business is to serve us. His game is not setting him up for success. So if you're Baker Mayfield, get off the couch and get in front of a mirror and identify the real problem.
But, Sel, this wasn't a matter of talking about whose game wasn't good enough. Baker wasn't. Yeah. So Baker didn't have an issue based on what he said with them signing Deshaun Watson. He said he felt disrespected because they told him something and they did something else. Yes. Meaning they said, hey, we're committing to you, Baker, as our starting quarterback, and we are going to move forward with Deshaun Watson out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I would have issue with that too.
You would?
Yes, Sel, because here's what I hate. People always want to say the NFL is a business. But it's a business until it's personal to you. One of my favorite scenes in the movie Taken was when Liam Neeson goes to get his daughter. And Liam Neeson's daughter was caught in the sex trafficking thing in the course of the movie. And the man who was trafficking his daughter was like, I'm sorry, Liam, it was just business. Liam responds and says, but it was personal to me.
I like that.
So while people want to talk about the NFL as a business, I get that. But it's personal to the athletes, and I will personalize it.
Let's go.
See, when you make a transaction in fantasy football, when you pick up your phone and you say, Marcellus, I will trade you Odell Beckham, Cooper Kupp for DeAndre Hopkins, send, that takes about 10 seconds to occur. When you make a trade on Madden, you want to go trade a couple first-round picks for a star receiver, that takes about 20 seconds to occur. But when you get traded into in real life, that takes months. Not only to occur, but more often, it takes months of damages and repercussions. You say, but I have real stories.
Yeah,
When I got traded in Cleveland, big dog, they said, Acho, you got to go from Cleveland to Philly. Huh? What about this house I just put a down payment on? Wait, what about the car I just got shipped from Dallas to Cleveland? What about the friendships I've established here? What about the social community I've established here? What about the church I've established here? Now I got to go to Philly, but I don't know anybody in Philly. Oh, I got to move to Philly, and I have no idea where I'm going to stay in Philly. I don't know anybody in that locker room except for Nick Foles. What occurs in fantasy football, what occurs in Madden, which leaves us as analysts who are more detached from the game, and clearly you all as fans, which leaves you all just interpreting the NFL as a business. I have to remember, it is personal to these athletes. So while we look at Baker Mayfield and say, well, Baker, you got traded. It's a business. Baker's sitting here like, I got a wife. I got a family, if you will, got my dogs and whatnot.
They're not coming.
I have my house. What is just so transactional to the Cleveland Browns is not as transactional to Baker Mayfield. I understand the feeling of being disrespected, and I respect Baker Mayfield for saying, you know what, this is a feeling. He didn't say like, he said, it comes down to this is a feeling.
Man. Let's talk this one. Okay. Woo. Baker Mayfield got his priorities out of order. Sound like you did as well. Let me remind you, it is transactional. The NFL is about serving. It's about going out there. How'd you make it to the NFL? Because you had businesses set up, because you had family, because you had dogs? No, because you was a baller. And you survived, not only as a baller, but you became professional at ball. There's a big difference, because there were better ballers than you, better ballers than me. Dog, I can name 10 dudes right now, and you won't know any of them, that were better at football than me. But did they become professional football players? No, because that's a whole different lane. That's a whole different transaction. So we became professional football players. Don't lose the priorities in that position, because we started when we were so young. And I know why it happens. We get lost in the priorities and we start getting our feelings attached to the football, and we wrap our identity around the ball instead of realizing this. You are playing a child's game, but you can't act like no kid. And that's what Baker Mayfield start acting like. You keep telling me that, oh, man, Baker Mayfield, man, they owe him something or they should have respected him more. Respect what? What did he give them? 6 wins, 6 wins, 6 wins, and 11 wins. The 11 is the anomaly. What you gave us most of the time is substandard. So I don't want to hear about what you gave us if you want to talk about who he is. Here's the thing. The only medicine for Baker Mayfield right now is realization. Can y'all get y'all? The football is not shaped like a heart for a reason. It's oblong. Guess what? This thing gonna bounce all kind of crazy ways. Transactions happen like this. You got traded. They may have thought about it the day before. They may have thought of it the moment before. They may have thought about it months before. But the point is, why are you still thinking about it? It's time to move.
Got something for you.
No, let me finish this point. Because I'm going to say something, I'm going to quote somebody. I want to steal it as a Wileyism, but he's too damn famous, so people going to know it ain't mine. But Baker's really going through an identity crisis. His identity right now is in flux right now. Am I great? Heisman Trophy dude, number 1, 11 wins? Or am I kind of suspect right now? Man, 6 wins and injured? Who am I? I don't even have a job right now. Really looking forward. The quote is, with a high identity status, you really know who you are. You look at changes as an opportunity, not disaster. Notice when somebody has something that happens to them in their life and it's time to move on. If they are stuck on what they're talking about, they're telling you how they feel about themselves. Versus if they like, okay, you bet against me, now I'm gonna go here and bet on myself. Baker Mayfield is showing you right now his identity is still in flux, bro. I don't know why you betting on him until he figures that out.
I'm focused right now, Sel, on this one dot.
What's one dot?
This disrespectful dot.
But what's disrespectful?
Here's what's disrespectful. The Cleveland Browns didn't give Baker Mayfield their word. Baker Mayfield didn't have a conversation with the helmet. He didn't have a conversation with the stadium. He had a conversation with a person.
Yeah.
Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski. He didn't have a conversation with the dog pound. He had a conversation with a human being. So if a human being gives me their word and they renege on their word, I have an issue with that human being. I feel disrespected as a person because of that human being. The NFL is a business. That is abundantly clear. But Baker Mayfield is a person, and it is run by people. Talk to me.
Have you heard from those people? Have you heard from that person? Have you heard the dialogue, or did you hear someone's monologue on the couch with their neatly folded legs?
Exactly right.
Thank you. So you don't know if he was disrespected or not.
I am saying that Baker Mayfield felt disrespected. What did your therapist say about feelings? You can't tell someone how to feel.
Yeah.
Now,
and I don't have to feel sorry for you either.
But here's what we heard. Here's what we do know.
What?
Andrew Berry does say he regrets not telling Baker Mayfield about the meeting with Deshaun Watson. So we have actually heard from Andrew Berry.
And
we heard. Go ahead.
No, and I'm saying that's fine. People don't read the fine print in contracts, just like they don't read the manuals when they buy a new toy. When you do something, you got to read the fine print. This is a transactional business. Acho, tell the truth. Was your first show supposed to be this show or another show? Anyway, my point is, the Buffalo Bills didn't even show up to my personal workouts, my private workouts, didn't even speak to me at the combine. I don't know why people getting caught off guard that there is another layer. There's the game and the game within the game. Baker, you didn't get disrespected. You just got played by the game.
He didn't get played by the game, no sell. Unmask the game. The game is run by people.
Yes.
Like you let it hide. You're letting Andrew Berry, you're letting Kevin Stefanski, you're letting Jimmy Haslam, D. Haslam hide behind the game. It's not the game. It is people. You know, Stel, what I can't stand, I'm sure this has happened to you, when you're trying to get something done in business, you might call your agent and be like, hey, can you get me set up at this restaurant? Can you get me set up at this comedy show? Can you get me set up at this concert? Man, you know, I can't really make it work right now. They just got a lot going on. They is somebody. There is somebody who is that they.
Beyond the entity. Yes.
Beyond the entity.
Yes.
We talk about the entity, but the entity is run by a person.
Just like culture is.
Yep. Exactly right.
Yep.
Culture is moved by people. And so when we're talking about Baker Mayfield being disrespected, I get that the game is a business. But Andrew Berry ain't a business. Jimmy Haslam ain't a business. Kevin Stefanski ain't a business. So if you give me your word as a person, just give me your word.
But he gave them his word. And he gave him his word. He said, we're looking to bring in high-level competition this year. They brought in way too high a level for Baker Mayfield to compete. So we know that, right? But also, Acho, let me just give you an example. Acho was about to sell his house to me. Okay, you said, I'm gonna sell you my house at $6 million. I was like, all right, I'm about to get everything in work. I'll call you back and let's make this happen. All of a sudden, someone calls you right now. Acho, I'm gonna give you $8 million right now. $8 million right now, but if I hang up this phone, offer's off. Now, that's how the NFL works. No one's lying. You said, I'm going to give it to you because it was the best example.
Fair.
It was the best opportunity. It was the best offer.
Fair.
Right then, when they told Baker Mayfield that, he was the best option they had. Then all of a sudden, Deshaun Watson was not going to go to jail or on any criminal charges. Everything changed in that moment, and then they got into their transaction with Deshaun Watson. I want to tell Baker Mayfield this. Your game is the person when it comes to transactions in the NFL. Your game. No one cares if you were Walter Payton Man of the Year. They will cut you if you ain't getting those quarterback sacks. They will cut you if you're not throwing that ball to the receivers. Baker Mayfield got lost in thinking that he did enough. And you keep telling him he did enough.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna say this last part for my therapist. I gotta respect him. He told me the perfect pass is the one they can't drop. A lot of people think the perfect pass is, hey, I did my part. Why ain't they catch it? No. The perfect pass is the one they can't drop.
Good.
And Baker Mayfield, whatever you want to say, you didn't throw enough game at them that they couldn't drop it. They dropped it on you because you never gave it fully to them.
I like what you're saying, but here's what I'm trying to make clear.
What?
The two are not mutually exclusive, meaning the Browns could have done what they had to do. Deshaun Watson, no criminal charges are going to be filed. Hey, we got to move with you, Deshaun Watson, and Baker Mayfield being disrespected. That is both disrespectful to Baker Mayfield, and it is a wise business decision for the Cleveland Browns. Not mutually exclusive. What I've learned as I mature into adulthood is this. There's no good way to give bad news, and there's no right time to give the wrong news. I've learned two of those things, and they're both true. Ain't no good way to give bad news and no right time to give the wrong news. However, there is a way to not disrespect an individual as the news is being given. Or at least, can we acknowledge, hey, you know what? That was disrespectful. I had no other way to do it. I know over the course of some of them breakups, Big Dog's like, look, I'm sorry, I hurt your feelings. I did not have a choice, right? I had to make a better decision for me than your feelings, but I will at least acknowledge that I did you wrong. Can the Cleveland Browns at least acknowledge, please, and I will shut up. Can the Browns acknowledge that prior to Baker Mayfield showing up, they had 11 different starting quarterbacks in 12 seasons in week one. Prior to Baker Mayfield showing up, they hadn't had a quarterback start 16 games in back-to-back seasons since 1981. Prior to Baker Mayfield showing up, they hadn't won a playoff game since 2002. Prior to Baker Mayfield showing up, they hadn't been to the playoffs since 2002, won a playoff game since 94, and had a 10-win season since 2007.
Justify.
You ain't have no good days prior to me showing up.
No good days?
And I done showed up, and now we had a great day.
Oh, I like that. I'm going to talk for the Cleveland Browns organization. And
you're probably going to lie to me, knowing y'all.
No, I'm going to disrespect you. They're feeling like the only wrong decision we made may have been drafting Baker Mayfield.
No, stop.
You gave me a list of names. You watch Snowfall?
First season. I'm behind.
It's insane right now. Franklin on one right now. You say Couch, Manziel, Wheaton, Brady Quinn.
Yes, sir.
Couch, Manziel, Wheaton, Mayfield, bodies. All of them dead right now. You know why? Because none of them got the job done. Now it's on Deshaun Watson. And if he can't get the job done, bodies.
Look inside. Cleveland got to look inside, Sale. Stop looking at all these quarterbacks. You can't tell me that all of these quarterbacks are sorry. You can't. You can't tell me that Tim Couch was sorry. You can't tell me that Brandon Whedon was sorry. You can't tell me that Colt McCoy was sorry. You can't tell me that Brady Quinn was sorry. You can't tell me that Johnny Manziel was sorry. You can't tell me that all these quarterbacks were sorry. Maybe you have to look inside as an organization and say, you know what? Maybe we're setting them up for failure because they weren't all failures before they got here, but boy, if they failed once they got here. We know Deshaun ain't sorry.
No.
So time about to tell.
Well, I mean, his best season, they only won 4 games. Bodies.